running isn't just a sport anymore, it's a lifestyle. On this episode of Runner's Mouth, we're talking about the new age of running, the rise of run clubs, strict qualification times, why running has become the new social scene, and a whole lot more. Welcome back to Runner's Mouth. If you're watching on YouTube, you might notice some changes in our setups. Both Gil and I are in new offices. Gil, you're actually in a completely different state from the last time we recorded 2 weeks ago. How you doing in Dallas, man?
Yeah, Dallas is great, man. Moved here about a week and a half ago, so wearing my Duke Blue Devils hat. I'm officially an alumni now of the school, so happy to have graduated business school, and then now we're off in Dallas, getting ready to start a new adventure. So settling in pretty fine. I mean, don't really know the area that well, but tons of running trails and parks to go run at. Still nursing that IT band issue I've been in a situationship with for about 2 months now. So working through it, but feeling good, ready to kind of slowly get in a rhythm and see where it goes. But it's been good. I see you got some new decor on the wall in your new office, right?
Yeah, man, you are going to be back, so keep that rehab going. But yes, I'm excited to be in a new office I'm not in a new state, still on my property, but in my backyard in a detached office that I'm sharing with my wife. But I'm able to put some running decor up. Finally, it's nice to have like my own stuff up on the wall. And actually, a really good little intro to what we're talking about today. Today's topic is going to be is this Bill Rogers poster. For those who don't know, Bill Rogers, he is a legendary marathoner. In the 70s and 80s, he won back-to-back Boston and New York City marathons. And he actually came to Sarasota, my hometown, and was the kind of like the race director of this local charity race that I did. And I got to meet him, and he signed this poster, and it says, "David, run Boston." And it was in 2010. And that ignited me to want to go run the Boston Marathon. And as we know, a couple months ago, we prefaced it a little bit in previous episodes. I did my first attempt, which I ran 2:51:57 with you pacing me the first half in Wilmington, North Carolina. And why I say that's a good intro into what we're going to talk about is kind of the new age of running. And the Boston Marathon is a big ticketed item, pretty much the Mount Everest for the running community. And it's always been hard to qualify for Boston, but it's never been harder now. So I chose the perfect time to try to qualify for this race. So the qualifying standard for our age, men 18 to 34, is 2:55, 2 hours and 55 minutes. And I ran 2:51, and there's a really good chance that I'm not going to qualify. And that's because they cap it at 30,000 runners. So you could have 10,000 people run 2:54, but kind of depends on what the other categories are running, the other age groups, and they cap it. So for the 2026 Boston Marathon, the cutoff time was 4:30 and change. So do the math. I'm going to be iffy, but I'm going to go for it. If I don't make it I'll find out in September. If I don't make it, I'll try again in 2028. But that leads me to my question to you, Gil. Why is that happening? Why is running so popular now?
Yeah, I mean, I would say right now, especially with like how influential social media is and everyone that's slowly getting into it, I think run clubs is a huge part of why, this culture of runners and wanting to be out more, like there's less activities that are occurring where people are just wanting to go drink at bars. A lot of social activities are now occurring, when you look at like the gym and CrossFit and running and, now High Rocks is a new thing that people are getting into. And I think that the sense of community, right, that people are looking for, they're more likely to want to be a part of something that's like, getting after something healthy related, not necessarily like going out to go, drink or whatever it may be. There's less and less of that going on and more, let's go for a run, let's go for a bike ride, let's go hit the gym, and then these gyms, these places are taking advantage of the fact that people want to do that, right? And so we're seeing a ton of increased opportunities and events that are centered around coming together and building community through running or cycling or anything else like, going to the gym, CrossFit, High Rocks, etc. So I think that's a huge push as to why it's like our culture right now. We really value health and wellness and doing things that make us feel good, and we're less and less caring for those late nights out and things like that. So I think that's a pretty big push. That's my perception. I can even touch a little bit about my time at Duke. One of the biggest things that I wanted to do when I started at the MBA program was to build community through running. So we started a run club. So Fuqua Run Club was non-existent 2 years ago, and happy to say that we had upwards of like 90 members in the run club. Now, how many showed up in one time was totally dependent on whether we had finals or other events, but it was an opportunity for us to come together and seek community through something that involved health and wellness. And people loved that opportunity to come out, and we'd go to different routes. We even got a sponsorship through Bull City Running in Durham, North Carolina. So shout out to Bull City Running Run Specialty Store for sponsoring us. And I'm happy to say that that's now an official recognized club at Fuqua as part of the Fuqua Fit Health and Wellness Club. And so it's huge, right? Like people love that stuff. And I think the opportunity to come together and build community through wellness is something that's kind of carried into BDRC's mission and what we want to do. And so I would say that's it. It's that community piece around health and wellness.
Yeah, there's a whole generational shift. I mean, anybody on the internet is seeing Gen Z doesn't drink anymore. Why? And cost of living and cost of beer. Beer used to be quarter beer night, doesn't really exist anymore. So it's a lot cheaper to just lace up your shoes and go out and run and meet people like that. And if you want to grab a beer after, you can. But it really the pull is to get out there, wellness, and just being outside more than just being out in a bar. That like I said, total generational shift, which is cool, which is obviously cool. It's better health and everything, and it just makes me think that I don't even know if run clubs existed back when we were in college. I'm sure they did. My take, it was always pub runs, like a Thursday night pub run, or fun runs from your local Fleet Feet, which are great, but it's a different clientele. It's a different, like, if you pull up and you're a collegiate runner or you're post-collegiate, and you show up in your short shorts and you're not super shoes, remember, not super shoes, but you show up in like you clearly know what you're clearly a competitive runner. You're almost I felt a little like I looked like a try hard, even though I wasn't trying to be. Just a total different vibe there. I think it's just like more older folks were going to those little pub runs and fun runs. It's for people to get out and about more than like, hey, here's like 100 young people, like college age co-eds, out mingling. I saw some articles saying that the run clubs are like the new dating apps. And hey, I've been with the same girl for 16 years. I didn't do Tinder. I didn't do any of that. So I don't know what the dating scene's like, but it kind of just goes hand in hand with just the younger generation is utilizing that to meet each other and be healthy. And it's not just like, yo, meet me at the bar anymore. It's interesting.
Well, like it's also, taking into perspective, like what a pub run used to be. And like, it usually was centered around a run specialty store, bringing in clientele, right, and saying, hey, come run with us, and a sponsor will come out, we'll give you a free t-shirt, we'll give you a beer, or we'll give you a bite to eat, try on the shoe, things like that. Demo runs have existed for a long time, and that's kind of the pub runs, the demo runs, demo nights, all that stuff. All of that kind of fed off of each other. But now you're seeing a lot of just standalone run club identities, right? Like where they're no longer tied to a run specialty store or a specific, brand or event, right? Like I can speak on Dallas. There's a huge run club here in Dallas. It's called Run It Up Dallas. Huge social media presence. I mean, they have hundreds of people showing up on a Wednesday night to go run 2 or 3 miles, and they're bringing in all sorts of people from, when I say people, all sorts of like types of runners, right? Slow runners, fast runners, you name it, lifters that are just getting in a jog, and actual runners. Like there's all sorts of ability groups, and they are the ones that are creating the buzz. They are the ones that are bringing in the people. They are the ones that are creating the venue, right? And then all these other places, all these other run specialty stores want to get in on that, right? So it's a little different, right? The power is in the hands of these run clubs, right? And again, it's just an opportunity for people to come together and build community. I got super lucky. One of my movers that was helping me move here to Dallas came to unbox a few of my crates and whatnot. He owns a run club here, and it's a run club that's centered around like faith and religion, and they'll do they'll meet up on Saturday mornings, and they'll talk about the Bible, and then they'll go run, and they have like 150 people showing up, right? And they have stores that are reaching out to them. Dick's Sporting Goods reached out to them and said, hey, come host your event at our site, right? Because again, stores were doing pub runs to get people to walk through the doors, right? That walk-in traffic of customers and new faces. That's what was they're using food, beer, etc., to build the community to get people into the store. Now you eliminate that because so many people buy their stuff online, and maybe they might not shop local or shop at physically. Now the run clubs themselves have the identity, and so that's the really unique piece that now the running world is navigating. On top of that, right? You have younger people more in touch with fashion and style and pretty colors, and the fastest, coolest looking running shoe has always been a thing. But now people actually care about that, right? You look at high-end luxury apparel brands, right? Like we'll use On. On is centered as a centerpiece for bringing in, a higher quality materials. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's definitely your more premium brand of apparel. In addition to shoes, you have Lululemon, you have, Viore, I think is the brand. And then we have like Fabletics and things like that. More premium brand apparel for athletic and, athleisure, right? And people care about that and they want to match. And, and I can't tell you how many targeted ads I get on social media about cool outfits and looking good on your run. And, we'll get into a lot of those topics in later episodes about the true importance in running. But people want to look good, feel good, and maybe they run better because they look good and they feel good. So all of that plays into this new world that we're in, where people care about what they wear, they want to look good, they want to meet people, they want to build community, and then they go run. So it is a little different. It's definitely the community aspect changes the game a lot, and it's forced running stores, it's forced running brands, it's forced everyone to kind of really focus on what's the priority, right? Because back in the day, you could tell somebody, hey, the cool color is only available in this one shoe. You need this other shoe. Well, now every shoe has a cool color, and then they have all sorts of outfits that match. And so I'll hop off my soapbox here leave a lot of that for future episodes. But that's really what run clubs are now, is social gatherings. And, it doesn't surprise me one bit that it's the new dating game, because it is what it is.
Yeah, no, you're not on a soapbox at all. You know so much about this because you did it, and I wanted to, I'll do kind of like a Q&A for myself and our listeners, about what it took to build that run club at Duke, because I think it's amazing. When I first saw you post about it a couple years ago, I was like, that a boy, Gil, making your mark. You made your mark. You told me when we were on a trip, you're like, if people see your car coming, they're like, oh, there's Gil. And I know that, knowing you, it makes sense. But because you make a mark, you're not just gonna sit off to the side. You're gonna make your presence known in a really good way, and I think that's great about you. So tell me kind of like some lessons you learned starting a run club there, what made it so successful for the Fuqua Business School, and some things maybe if you did it again, maybe some things you would have done differently, just to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit on starting a run club.
Yeah, I would say things that I learned, no matter what time you set the meetup time to be, people are going to be late, right? So
always, yeah, and it's running, yeah.
Yeah, my military days always, I'd get that little itch in the back of my neck, like, man, why can't people be on time? But it's just the way that it is. And, we played around with a few start times because people would complain. They wanted to go out to the bars the night before. And this is like the grad student experience, right? So there's parties all the time and people want to, have fun and be a part of Run Club. But, you move it to 10 o'clock and then the 9 o'clock people aren't going to show up because it's too late. You keep it at 9 a.m. and then at 10 o'clock, people say it's too early. You move it any earlier than that, you might lose both of those populations. So really sticking to a specific plan, right? Like, hey, this is the time we're gonna meet up. You make it if you can. Like you can't. You have to cater to the entire population and not just specific people. The other thing too is like don't be afraid to bring people in to get those creative juices going. You don't have to do it all yourself. We had some wonderful people that were passionate about building community and running and being able to combine that together. We were able to come up with some fantastic events. We did some bring your own brunch type runs where we'd come together and cook breakfast afterwards. We started centering our meetups around coffee shops, and so we partnered with the coffee club and some local coffee shops nearby where they'd offer us a discount, or we'd have a tab that we'd cover up to a certain amount depending on how much funding we had. Trying out a new local coffee shop and supporting local businesses, and then also coming together and giving runners an opportunity to get a free cup of coffee, which would motivate more people to show up. You'd be surprised when you'd advertise free coffee, how many people would show up to a run club versus when there was no coffee. But yeah, we always tried to the running wasn't the most important part. We centered our meetups around community. And so hey, I want to grab coffee afterwards with you and catch up on the week and see how classes are going and your interviews for jobs and whatever it may be that's happening in your life. That was the piece that was most important for people and like myself. The running was just part of the process. But I would get up in the morning because I knew that there was going to be a piece, a little snack or some coffee after the run for us to come together and really talk. And that's what really kind of helped build that run club. I would say if I was doing it again, which we hope to start something here in the Dallas area in the near future, things that I probably would have done differently, a little bit more focus on social media. When we first started off, we were all together in one room, so it's very easy to come together and word of mouth spreads, and then we got into the social media game. But social media is such a powerful tool, and in being able to market that, you want to get out to the people. You want your message out there, and definitely would have utilized social media a little bit more earlier on, more frequently to post updates and really kind of help bring people together. The other thing too is making sure that the verbiage in how we portray our run club, comes off as accessible for everyone, right? There's so many people that knew about the run club, and I found out very late in the game that they never came out because they didn't think they were fast enough to be a part of a run club. And that's the whole point of building community with running is it doesn't matter what ability you are in running. It doesn't matter where you are in your running journey. There is a run club for everyone. And I can't speak for every run club that's out there because I know there's good and bad run clubs, just like there's good and bad runners, and there's good and bad coaches and good and bad running stores, right? I'm not going to name any, but I know running stores that don't have no idea what they're doing when it comes to selling you a proper running shoe in the shoe fit process. Just like I know there's run clubs out there that have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to running, right? So you got to be careful with where you get into, but for the most part, run clubs they're for everyone, right? And if you do not feel like you belong in the run club that you're at, then you're in the wrong club, right? And I would encourage you to find somewhere that you feel belonging, because that's the whole point of Run Club, right? When we started Fuqua Run Club, it was for everyone. It was for walkers. It was for partners and students. It was for people who had dogs. Hell, if you had a cat and you wanted to bring your cat on a run, bring your cat. We don't care. But that's really, again, community is universal. Community is for everyone. And there should be no discrimination on your pace and your ability, whatever it may be. Absolutely not. You should be able to show up and have fun just like the next person. So it's been interesting. It's definitely a good time, and we've enjoyed it so far.
Nice, that's awesome. I mean, Gil, you didn't have time to post on social media. What, were you in grad school or something?
Yeah,
I thought you had time.
I was busy trying to teach myself finance.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I appreciate you peeling back the curtain a little bit more. And obviously, it's the theme that we've talked about a couple times here is inclusion and letting people feel like they have a space in the community. There's tons of that's great nowadays, that there are a ton of run clubs that are awesome and do things right. The Out of Pocket Run Club in Tampa
Yeah, it's
Not
huge.
to shout them out because they're partnered with On, but they, if anybody listening here is in the Tampa area, they probably know about them. What I think is they do awesome social. They're partnered with
Yeah.
On. Like they put together some awesome events during the Marathon Olympic trials that were in Orlando. They partnered with a brewery. It was amazing. It was a great college reunion for me. So obviously, like I'm biased. I had a blast, but they put together this like capture the flag event that was
Oh, that's
really
sick.
really sick. All a run club, and it was so awesome. And this stuff I need to emphasize did not exist
No, not at all.
all like before COVID, but like around that time, like definitely not 10 years ago. If it existed, I didn't know about it, and or none of my friends were posting about it. And I follow people who are pretty well connected in the
Yeah.
running industry. So it's like it didn't reach up these eyeballs. So I don't think it was around. But I think from my perspective, and people who, even if they, I was going to say collegiate runners, but really anybody who was on a collegiate or high school team, that's the really cool thing about a run club is when you leave high school or college, what do you miss the most? Your team.
Right.
This is kind of like a team aspect. I know that I'll just use out of pocket again. I'm sure the Run It Up Dallas has this too. When they go to when they have people part of the run club who either qualify for Boston or go to Grandma's Marathon or the big marathons, they all get their out of pocket or Run It Up Dallas singlets. They're a team, and that's
Yeah.
I really miss that. Like if you're a baseball player in high school, college, you always have a softball team you can go join, which is great that they have that. The running world has never had that until now. Who, unless you and your buddies get together and form a Ragnar, but this is like legit, and it's also not just your college buddies, it's everybody in your area. So it's like, and again, big thing is the runner and the walker can also be part of the team too. So it gives that
Right.
person, so yeah, you and your, the top five, top 10 runners of that run club can go race together, but you're all still a team no matter what. And I think for me, that's something I've yearned for and wanted and like been really missing since college. So I think that's one of the biggest benefits of a run club. So yeah, run clubs have obviously been great for the running industry. And there's been this new wave that we keep talking about with social media. Like have you seen the guy who runs 5Ks on top of his fridge? He's
Yeah.
nuts.
That guy is insane. I think he did a 5K under his couch too, which is also equally as insane.
And it's fun to have our world be like parodied like that because it used to just be like people throwing like Dude Perfect, doing different, trick shots and stuff. So it's cool to have like running be in that world too. But there's
Right.
definitely the downsides of social media. With anything, with social media, there's negatives, and that's obviously
Oh, yeah.
the running world is no exception. So I know you've seen some pretty iffy things in that world.
Yeah, it's social media is interesting to your point, right? Like there's always the good and the bad, and people just have access and reach. And one thing I've noticed lately, specifically in social media that can be dangerous for the sport is, everyone has a voice, right? And like you look at these influencers that are, they're being sponsored by, these major companies. We'll use Nike as an example. I saw a guy who, he's known for spreading positivity all over social media. He wakes up in the morning, he goes out and runs, says good morning to everyone, and it's great. I love his content. Then I was like digging through some of the comments, and somebody had asked him, "Hey, do you recommend the Pegasus 42?" And he responds back to that. Now, mind you, this guy Nike gave him early access to the Pegasus so he could review it, and his response was, "Yeah, I recommend this shoe as a gym shoe." And anything no more than 3 miles of running. And I was just
What?
thinking to myself, I'm like, this is the Pegasus 42, right? It's been out for 42 years, right? It's been out for quite some time.
It's the
It is
flagship.
it is Nike's flagship running shoe. I know for a fact as we are filming this episode that there is someone that is running either in high school, college, or professionals is running right now way more than 3 miles in a Nike Pegasus. I know it I'll put my life on it. And so I started thinking like this guy was given early access to this product. He reviews it. He shares what he likes about it. He is a voice that Nike has empowered to speak on this product, and he is deliberately going against the entire grain of what that shoe stands for. That shoe is not a gym shoe. It is not a training shoe. It is a running shoe, and you can run anywhere from 1 mile to 20 miles in it. It's not a super cushion maximum shoe. It is like what I used to call when I was working Run Specialty. It is your normal mattress type of comfort, because we used to categorize it as like normal mattress and then pillow top mattress in terms of cushioning in the shoes. And we'll talk about we'll dive into that detail.
The Vomero is obviously the pillow top.
Right.
We don't need to get too into it.
Right. And the Pegasus is a flagship shoe that you could run all sorts of miles in. And so for someone to say that, and then like it had like 1,000 likes, his comment had like 1,000 likes. That means that there was 1,000 people that looked at his comment and said, man, that's an excellent insight. And they're probably not going to go get a Pegasus now because they think that that shoe is not for them, because this one guy said, oh, it's
the wrong information, like flat
right.
out.
Right. And so that bothers me, because I look at that, and as somebody who's worked in the industry for quite some time, like, first off, like, you shouldn't be giving recommendations on shoes. You could give your opinion on the shoe, but you should always, if you have a voice, you should always follow it with, but I highly recommend you go get fitted for running shoes to find the right shoe for you, right? And then that's like my thing. I cannot stand it when people give advice on running shoes that there's no universal language for running shoes. There's no universal shoe that works for people. It's trial by error sometimes, even when you get fitted. But most of the time, you need to go find out what shoe your body needs specifically for the level of pronation that you have, if any. There's all sorts of ways for you to find that out. And those are the bad things about social media. Like, people have a voice and they share incorrect information all the time. And you have to be careful, because that's how injuries happen. You go follow someone's advice and go try the shoe that they swore by, and it might have worked for them, but it might be awful for you. And next thing you know, you have a stress fracture and you're out for 6 to 8 months. So
yeah, it's interesting that he said that. It's interesting that he said it like that. It's almost like he tried that shoe on and it didn't have enough cushion, or it felt totally different than the past Pegasus. But to just straight up label it a gym shoe and you cannot run more than 3 miles, I mean, that's just blatant misinformation.
Right. It's like, if you can find me on anywhere that supports that the Nike Pegasus should not be running any more than 3 miles, I will pay for your pair. I don't care. Find me facts, because that is a straight opinion. And that's just not true.
Yeah, that's a straight opinion. We have good friends who are currently training for marathons. John Moses, I'll name him by name. He runs in the Pegasus. So yeah, Gil, I appreciate you sharing more of the info about you starting the run club at Duke. This was a fun episode. The new age of running, I keep saying it, is cool. And I'm happy to be, we're like founding fathers of this running world, I guess, in the as millennials. So it's cool to see it kind of take shape and get bigger than we ever even thought it could be.
Absolutely, yeah. Super fun episode. Really excited about future episodes, and it's a really good time to be doing what we're doing, and really excited to see how it all transfolds. So really excited about that.
Cool, me too. I'm having fun, and so that's a wrap. Episode 3. We will see you guys next time. As always, follow us everywhere at Runner's Mouth, and we appreciate you listening. Peace.
Later.